This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. Tribal leaders from across the country are gathered in Sparks, Nevada, focusing on key Indian country issues at the National Congress of American Indians Mid-Year Conference. The NCAI is reflecting on 75 years of serving tribal nations, which includes protecting tribal sovereignty. Reporter Rhonda Lavaldo is at the conference and joins us by phone. Rhonda, what are some of the topics being discussed this week?
Well, National Congress of American Indians has a task force on Violence Against Women Act, and that is trying to serve as a unified tribal voice to prevent and address violent crimes perpetuated against Native women. And, of course, with the missing and murdered Indigenous women issue making a lot of headlines in mainstream media outlets, they're wanting to give updates regarding pending legislation for that. They're also working with the National Institute of Health on intellectual property rights and biomedical research, and that is trying to invite tribal nations to provide input on policies on intellectual property rights in biomedical research. They're also working with the National Park Service in hosting a consultation with tribal leaders on proposed rules regarding the National Register of Historic Places, and so that's looking at how that would implement the 2016 amendments to the National Historic Preservation Act. And this conference is really important because it gives time for tribal leaders to work with National Congress of American Indians and also give their input on different legislations that may affect their tribes and certain specific issues, because they have many different things going on at the conference.
There's a new leader of the organization. Tell us about him.
Sure. They just announced Kevin Alice as the Chief Executive Officer for NCAI. He's a member of the Forest County Potawatomi community, and he has worked as a previous executive director of the Native American Contractors Association. He was a board chairman of the Potawatomi Business Development Corporation, and he's a founder of Thunderbird Strategies, a government relations firm specializing in advocacy of Native American rights. He is a current attorney and a former law enforcement officer who served with the Baltimore Police Department for 8 years.
Sounds like there's a lot of work taking place. Thank you, Rhonda. The NCAI convention wraps up on Thursday. U.S. Democratic lawmakers are hosting an environmental justice summit at the U.S. Capitol Wednesday. The day-long event will include policymakers and environmental justice leaders. Listening sessions have been held on the issue, including a recent one in New Mexico with tribal representation. The summit is a venue for community members and those involved in the environmental justice movement to interact with members of Congress. The world premiere of Molly of Denali was held Saturday in Fairbanks, Alaska. The PBS children's animated series is based on the life of an Athabascan child. It's the first nationally distributed children's series to feature a Native American lead character. The episodes weave together literacy skills with Alaska Native values. Creative producer Princess Dajrai Johnson talked about the series on Native America Calling, saying it's important to have positive representations for children to see on television.
I think, that is the ultimate goal here, is for our children to see themselves represented like that and feel like they're a part of this, because this was intentionally made, for us and for them. And that is a very beautiful, powerful thing.
The show was developed with a working group of Alaska Native advisors, including elders. Molly of Denali premieres nationwide on PBS stations on July 15th. I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced by Koahnic Broadcast Corporation, with funding by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
For Native Americans affected by domestic violence, the Strong Hearts Native Helpline offers peer-to-peer support and resources. It's safe, confidential, and toll-free at 844-7-NATIVE. Program support by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center. Support by the Wheelwright Museum, New Mexico's oldest nonprofit independent museum. The Wheelwright presents exhibitions of contemporary and iconic Native art, and there is no charge for Native visitors. Info at wheelwright.org.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.